Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started in a few minutes, just a minute or two, and we're hoping that there'll be more uh, of you joining. So we'll just wait for a minute and then we'll start. Okay. Um, Good afternoon again, everyone. It's good to see. Well, there are a few of you today, and more of you will be joining for sure. So this is the sixth session of the orientation around communication skills and soft skills. So we are in fact having, I think, six orientation itself is quite a number. It's quite an achievement, and I'm happy to see that the engagement is very much there. And the focus for today's session is going to be we're going to focus primarily on how to use. We'll take the example of the soft skills lab and how to use the soft skills module. But before that, we're going to have Ashwini showing us how to log in to the English lab, to both the communication skills module and the soft skills module. And once she's done explaining the login process, we'll take a look at the broader features of the lab, as in, right, how to access the modules, what's inside a module, how to access the activities, where are things placed, and so on. Something that will help you navigate the lab effortlessly. And we'll use the soft skills module as an example to do that. And also within the soft skills module, I'd like to highlight uh, certain features, one activity, and some associated lessons, just to show you how learning happens and how, of course, right, if you plan to use it in a lab session, how you could use the resources too. And then we'll walk through the soft skills facilitator guide. In fact, I'll show you both the communication skills facilitator guide and the soft skills guide. They are almost, what do you call that, a mirror image of each other. So knowing one is going to help you know the other one too. And then again, I'll hand it over to Ashwini, who's going to talk about the admin-led student enrollment process. So yeah, I think we're good to start. And let's start with the login process. Ashwini, over to you. Right, as Ashwini comes on the screen, again, as usual, if you have any queries around what we are showing you or any queries around the lab, right, do post your queries in the chat box. So our team at the back end will address your queries as the session progresses. And towards the end, we'll have a few minutes for Q&A too. So you can save your queries for there too, but then you don't have to wait till then. You can always put them in the chat box. Yeah, Ashwini, over to you.
Yeah, so I think, am I audible properly?
It's a bit on the lower side.
Okay. Is it better now?
Mm, not for me. Ashwini, yeah,
Yeah, can you hear me now, sir?
it's
Can
better.
you?
It's better. It's better. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, fine. So we all so let us just go through the login process. I think we have few students also have joined us on the YouTube streaming as well. So this login process will be helpful for the students who are still not able to log in or you have not yet started accessing the course. As we all know, the Quiklrn courses will be accessible through the Chrome browser. This is a browser-based access, and the course is not accessible on the app. We do have the app, but the VTU courses are accessible only on the browser. And we recommend everyone using only the Chrome browser because the user experience will be best on the Chrome browser. Now, once you have the Chrome browser, you can just go open the Chrome browser and go to our website, home.quiklrn.com. So you have to enter this URL, home.quiklrn.com on your browser. Whether it's on the laptop or on your phone, you can just open the browser, go to home.quiklrn.com, Quiklrn.com. Then after you log in, you will see this screen. Not after opening the browser and entering the URL, you will see this screen, and you have two menu items here, resources and login. What we have done is, because it was confusing some of the users, we have added the VTU English Lab login even under the login tab, and it is there under the resources tab as well. So you can just go to any of these menu and click on VTU English Lab login. So you have a dedicated login which is called VTU English Lab login. You have to use this login itself. If you click on the portal login or web app login, for example, you will not be able to access the course. You will be able to log in, but the courses will not be accessible from there. So you have to click on VTU English Lab login. Now, after I click here, it will ask you, it will take you to this login page. You have to enter your email ID and the password. This will be the common password. Every college has a unique common password that we have shared with the principal and the librarian. So in case it is not shared with the students, if any of the student you don't have the password with you, you can go and check it with your librarian. They will have a common password. You have to enter that common password and use your college registered email ID, whether it's the Gmail ID or if you have a college domain email ID, you can use either of it. So you can just enter your college registered email ID, whichever it is, and enter the common password which is given to your college. And check this box to accept the terms and services and click on the login button. So once I click on the login button, you will be able to see this screen where you have both the courses, communication skills and soft skills. You can click on any of the button or any of the courses to just start accessing the course. From here, you don't have to do anything. Once you just click on the start course button, you will be able to access the course from here. You will have the modules on the left side. You have your know your level test. So you'll be able to access. You can just click on any of the modules and you can start accessing the course. So this is the desktop or the laptop view. Now we will just check how we can log in using the same steps on the mobile phone. I hope my screen is
Yeah,
visible
we can
now.
see your
So
screen.
this is, yeah, so this is the mobile view. I've just put it on the laptop only, but this is how you will get it on the phone. So you will open the Chrome browser on your phones and go to our website, home.quiklrn.com. And this is the view you will have. Instead of the menu just listed on the top, you will have a burger icon on the phone. So just click on the burger icon here. And same thing, under the resources also you will have the English lab. Under the login also you will have the English lab. Just click on VTU English Lab from here. You just have to click on the burger icon. Now I'm just going to enter one more demo student ID here. And check the terms, click on the login. Enter your email ID and the common password given to your college. Same thing. So here also you just click get both the courses and click on the start course button. Now I'm just going to start the soft skills course. Click on the start course button. So you'll be able to access it here. And where do you access the modules on the mobile phone? You have a purple icon at the bottom of the screen. Just click on this purple color burger icon and you will have all the modules listed here. If I want to go to module 3, I can just go here. And also you have a navigation just below the components of that particular top module. You can just go to the previous section and the next section using these arrow keys at the bottom, and also use the burger icon to navigate. So this is how you will be able to access the courses on the Quiklrn platform. It is straight and clear, I think. If you have any queries, you can always write to us at support@quiklrn.com, or you can just put your queries on Q&A here as well. So this is a login process. Now handing it over to Gautam sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ashwini. So that was the sixth time Ashwini has explained the login process. I'm sure that all of us must have a very good hold on the process. So it's good. I can see students too who have joined us. So yeah, good afternoon, students. I forgot to address you. I forgot that you guys were joining too. Yeah, it's good to see you here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume again that some of you are new, though that might not be the case for most of you, hopefully. So if you are joining our session for the very first time, so there are some things that you need to know apart from the login process, which you now are familiar with, hopefully. Fine. So let's stick to the agenda. So students, again, I'll be addressing you in particular, right? And yeah, so and then of course, faculty members and librarians, all the stakeholders present here. Again, if you have any questions, do keep adding your questions to the chat box. But I'll be primarily talking to the students. Okay, that's what I like to do. We shall take a look at the lab in a sense. What is there? Where are the things that matter? So let me share my screen. Students, I'm sure that you have logged into at least, right? This has been almost 2 months since we implemented the the lab at your college. So what we'll take a look at is the landing screen, right? I'm sure that you're familiar with this, all of you, faculty members too, right? This is a very familiar scene, hopefully again. And what do you see here, right? You see on the left, you see the list of modules. So this is soft skills. We're looking at the soft skills program. You might wonder what the communication skills program looks like. It looks exactly the same. The architecture, the design is exactly the same, right? The flow is exactly the same. It's just that the topics are different. So on the left, you have the list of topics. So you have about the lab section. It tells you a little about the soft skills course. You have the Know Your Level test. Again, faculty members, I hope you have been using the Know Your Level scores to again make decisions around which students would benefit from what sort of activities and which students should you push towards the more challenging activities right away. And students, if you have not written the Know Your Level test by now, well, I mean, it's high time that you write it. So sorry, it's high time, yeah, that you write it. Okay. Uh, Faculty members, again, the Know Your Level test, it tells you about your students' proficiency across certain skills, and it gives you a CEFR level score. In case you are wondering what a CEFR score means, I'll direct you to the section in the facilitator guide where we give you all the details that you need to know pertaining to the Know Your Level test and the CEFR score. So just allow me a few more minutes. I'll focus on the lab first, and then when we discuss the facilitator guide, faculty members, I'm going to show you exactly, right, the part where the CEFR scores are discussed in detail and what do they mean and how do you interpret them. Okay, fine. And then, of course, you start with module one. I'm sure that most of you are in the middle of module one. Some of you might have completed module one. But what is module one? Right, module one is social skills. Right, again, every module in both the soft skills program and the communication skills program are structured in exactly the same manner. Okay, we'll focus on the structure here first. So module one is social skills, right? Now, how is it structured? You'll have three learning steps. So three stages. There'll be three stages in your learning. The first is the concept building stage. The second is the practice activities stage. And the third is the module test stage. So third is the testing stage, right? What is the idea? The idea is very simple. You build your concepts here in the concept building stage. Faculty members, when we discuss the facilitator guide, you'll find that most of the concept building happens as homework, as pre-classwork, right? So even before the student comes for that particular session, they are expected to have completed some of the concept building resources at home, right? So concept building is where students are introduced to the concepts. Practice activities is where students apply the concepts learned, right, through a range of activities covering all the topics. And the module test is, of course, the last stage of learning as far as that module is concerned. And here the student writes a test, and the student is expected to score well, and only then, move to the next module. So if the student is faring badly at the module test, again, faculty members, facilitators, please do direct the student back to the concept building resources and the practice activities before you allow them to write the module test again. Okay. Now, what exactly is there in concept building? What exactly is there in practice activities, right? We're going to take a closer look now, right? As far as the other modules, emotional skills 1, emotional skills 2, professional skills 1 and 2, do explore these modules at your leisure. And of course, I mean, the sooner, the better, right? Because you're going to make your way to those modules very soon. And I'm talking both to my dear faculty members and students. Right. So let's take a look at concept building. A closer look at concept building. So what you see here is social skills, right? Essentially covers these topics, as you can see: communication, persuasion, self-awareness, active listening, right? So these are the topics that make up or that comprise the module social skills. And you see that these two topics, right? There are two sets of topics. So the first is a set of 3 topics. The second is just active listening. I want to take a look at persuasion. So where am I going to click? I'm going to click here, the first link. Okay. So this is an interactive book. A lot of you, many of you, of course, right, would already know that how this works. But then again, for those of you who might not be very sure about how an interactive book works, let me point it out to you. First of all, why do we call it an interactive book? We call it an interactive book because it is in the form of a book, as you can see, right? There are chapters. All the chapters are on the left, right? And then there is the content of that particular chapter arranged in slides on the right. And then you have a lot of questions integrated with the chapter that you have to do, right? So you have to, it's not a book that you read passively, it's a book that you engage with very actively, right? And how do you engage with? You go through the content for that chapter, and again, right, it's arranged in very few slides. There's not too much reading, there's not too much information on a slide, and then you have to answer the question based on what you have read, right? And that means you're engaging with the content, you're not just reading passively, and that's what makes it interactive. Another thing that makes it interactive is, if you haven't already seen our videos, right, our videos are all interactive in the sense, right? You play a video. I'm not going to play it for now. You can watch it for yourself later. You play a video. You have to answer questions as you watch the video to progress to the next part of the video. So students, right, when you are watching our videos, make sure that you're paying attention to each and every word being said, because you will be quizzed, right, on the concepts being taught in the video itself. And that's what makes it interactive. Right. Now, okay, so how are how is the learning from concept building connected to the practice activities, right? How is the learning from concept building connected to the practice activities? It's very simple. For example, I'm learning about persuasion, okay? Why am I learning about persuasion? Because it's a very important skill. It allows me to express myself in a very convincing manner so that the listener is convinced with what I'm trying to say, right? Especially if I have a point to make or an opinion to share. Now, a student learns about persuasion. A student learns about some aspects of persuasion. In this case, the 3 aspects around persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Logos. Don't worry about the terms, students. These are just Latin terms, but they have very simple meanings. Okay, so ethos, pathos, and logos. They sound foreign. They sound foreign because these are foreign words, right? English, of course, is a foreign language anyway, right? But then they're very simple meanings. So let's say, faculty members, you want your students to do this for homework. Okay, so you tell your students that, look, go home, and not go home today, before tomorrow's session, make sure you are done understanding persuasion and especially ethos, pathos, and logos. So what is ethos? Ethos is all about credibility. So when you are giving your opinion, right, if the opinion is coming from a person who has an expertise in that area, it makes more sense, you know. I mean, a doctor giving you advice on let's say heart health or healthy habits, right? Or a dietitian giving you advice on healthy habits would make more sense, or would be more convincing for you rather than, let's say, I don't know, right? Your neighbor who's a banker, right? And who is very unhealthy, right? And who is not healthy at all giving you advice, right? So advice needs to come from someone who has a certain expertise or hold on the topic, and that's called ethos. Okay, so when you are when you're trying to be persuasive, you have to show that you know the subject, or you know what you're talking about. You have some qualifications or some experience around it. That's ethos. Okay, you need to establish that. What is pathos? Pathos is nothing but emotion. You got to put some feeling into what you are saying. You got to make it emotionally appealing. That's pathos. You're appealing to the person's emotions, right? Imagine, for example, right, if I'm going to tell someone to eat healthy, I'm going to tell them that eat healthy, you know, for the sake of your family, for the sake of your children, right? So that, right, you live to see your children grow up and get married or something of that sort, you know, something that will make an emotional connection. So that's pathos, right? And then there's logos. Logos is nothing but logic. Give evidence, give data, give reasons, right? Give facts to support your point. So, students, you have learned about ethos, credibility, pathos, appeal to emotion, right? And logos, giving logic, giving evidence, giving facts to back up your points, right? Now, how do you apply this, right? Where do you apply this? Do you apply this in the concept building section? No, you don't, right? Where do you go? You go, let me close this. Yeah. Where do you go? You go to the practice activities. Okay. So again, faculty members, right, or again, the facilitators here, so who will be driving the lab sessions? So your students have done the homework, right? They've done the homework. They know about ethos, pathos, and logos. Now it's time for them to show that they have really learned it, to show that they can apply that concept. Because if you cannot apply the concept, then you haven't learned it properly, right? So here you give them an activity. In this case, let's say you give them the activity called the persuasive pitch. Okay, you give them the activity called the persuasive pitch. And this is an opportunity for the student to practice what they have learned, to apply what they have learned. And this can be done in the lab, right? And you can have a post session discussion around the learnings from this particular activity. But let's find out a little about the activity. So remember, we learned about pathos, ethos, pathos, and logos, right? We got to apply it. Here, we got to speak in a persuasive manner. You're going to take on the role of someone trying to convince a specific audience to support an idea or take a particular action. You will record two short persuasive pitches. Each pitch should effectively incorporate the three key elements of persuasive rhetoric: ethos, pathos, and logos, right? So you have to convince a group of people, right, about something, right? And you got to employ ethos, pathos, and logos. Uh, let's choose activity number two, task number two. Organize a fundraising event for a local animal shelter. And who's the audience? Fellow students and the wider college community. Fellow students and the wider college community. Now, I have to convince my fellow students and and I think my professors and my teachers, right, and the non-teaching staff, right, to donate some money for the local animal shelter. Okay, let's see whether I can do it. Now, the fun thing here is, those of you who might not be aware, students especially, this is an interactive activity. It's an AI integrated activity, right? It's interactive in the sense you complete the task and you're going to get feedback and analysis on your performance, right? I hope all of you have understood the task, right? I have got to speak for a minute or less than a minute, trying to convince, right, my college friends, the students in my college, my professors, the non-teaching staff, to to donate some money for a local animal shelter, right? And I'm going to try to get ethos, pathos, and logos into the picture. Okay, so that's a task. As you can see, it's the same thing. Propose the idea of organizing a fundraising event. Okay, why do I have 0 minutes here? Never mind, right? That means I don't have to worry about the time here, but I'll just speak for around less than a minute. I have to cover 150 words, or maybe less. It's okay. That's the limit. I need to try to use these target words. Students, do remember to use the target words for the AI integrated speaking and writing activities, okay? And these are the target words here. These are all relevant to the topic. I click on start. I click on start, and then I record my response, right? So let's see if I can convince you. I'm going to target you because you are all associated with a university, you're from different colleges. I'm going to try and convince you to give some funds for the animal shelter. Dear students and my dear respected faculty members and non-teaching staff, when was the last time you extended a helping hand to an animal in need? Um, and uh, and when was the last time, right, you felt bad because you couldn't do much about, let's say, a stray dog in your neighborhood or an injured cow on the road? There is something that you can do, however, right? You can extend your assistance to animals in need by supporting a local shelter for animals that's doing a very good job of taking care of animals in need. This particular shelter, right, has indeed been recognized by a number of government organizations for the work it has done, serving animals over a long period of time. So I would like you to extend some financial support so that this particular shelter can continue doing the good work. Thank you. Okay, okay. So see how easy or how difficult it is to persuade, right? I mean, you have to be as convincing as possible. Did I use ethos? Did I use pathos? Did I use logos? Let's see. All I have to do is click on next. I have to submit my response, and then I'm going to get some feedback on how I have performed. I'm going to keep it very short now in the interest of time. But as the AI tools at the back end, right, that we have programmed to analyze your responses as they work, right, I would like all of you, faculty members and students, to try these activities. These activities are wonderful activities for the simple reason, right? You speak, you make mistakes, I mean, you don't even have to prepare that much for the first try. You'll get feedback that'll tell you exactly how to improve, right? You don't have to worry about anyone judging you. Students, right? Most of the time, students, you guys do not engage in activities that require you to speak simply because you feel shy or you are worried about judgment. But here there is no judgment. Do the activity, see if your hold on the concepts is as good as it should be, and just learn from the feedback that you get at the end. So look, I just got 2.5 stars, right? But then it's okay. I'm going to learn. How am I going to learn? I'm going to focus on two things. First of all, right, the corrections that the system or the AI tools have done for me, right? The AI tools have highlighted certain parts in red that I have made mistakes in and corrected my mistakes, right, with some suggestions in green. That's number one. All your grammatical mistakes will be highlighted here. Wrong choices of words will be highlighted here. Okay. Now, let's look at the feedback, right? The feedback around my response is very, very comprehensive. The student clearly states the idea of supporting a local animal shelter. The student establishes credibility by mentioning the shelter's recognition. It's a good attempt, right? Very nice, very nice. Thank you. The student uses emotional appeals by asking the audience to recall personal experiences. So I did use emotional appeal, right? The logical reasoning is there, it's there, but then it's not very good. To strengthen this, the student could provide specific examples of how donations have helped in the past. Very nice. That's a good example, right? It's a good suggestion. The speech is clear and generally well structured, but it could benefit from a more engaging opening and a stronger conclusion. So some weaknesses. No, my opening should be more engaging. My conclusion should be more memorable. Suggestions for improvement include a specific story to enhance emotional appeal, provide examples of past successes to strengthen logical appeal, right? And consider a more engaging opening to capture attention. Students, this is what I was talking about. You get beautiful feedback on your attempts, right? And you get feedback that you can actually put to use right away and reattempt the activity and get a better score. So learning the concept, applying that concept in one of these activities is the best way to learn. You know, getting your hands dirty, applying what you have learned, there's nothing better, right, than that as far as learning and progress is concerned. So this is again my very earnest appeal to students and faculty members, right? Do make use of the activities, especially the AI integrated activities that allow students to learn, right, in a cycle. So they learn, they they improve, they learn from the feedback, they give it another shot, they learn from the feedback again, and they get a chance to keep improving their their skills. Okay, fine. So I tend to get carried away a little when it comes to these activities because I really love these activities, but now it's time for the facilitator guides. Now, in this discussion, I've already been trying to do something. I've been trying to incorporate the discussion of the facilitator guide in the presentation itself. For example, faculty members, do you remember, right? I told you that, look, you're going to give concept building tasks, mostly as homework, as pre-class work, before they come for the session. And in the session, you're going to do an activity, right, based on those concepts. Now, what we have done for you is in our instructor's handbook, right, we have created sessions for you. We have planned sessions for you, right, where we tell you exactly what's the pre-class work, what's the classwork, and then what is the homework, you know, post the session that you could give. But first, let me just, right, introduce the two manuals or guides a little more formally, and then I'll get into the the plans, the session plans. Okay, I think I just have 5 minutes left. Right. So this is the instructor's handbook for communication skills lab, as you can see, right? And it's got a proper introduction, purpose, course overview, the pedagogical approach that we have taken, how we have designed the entire program. What is your role as a facilitator? What are the best practices for implementation? And most importantly, the session plans. What is expected of your students pre-class? What can you do in class and what can you do post-class, right? So this is the instructor's handbook for communication skills lab. This is already available with you. In fact, all of you have access to the link that allows you to download this particular guide. For now, I'll focus a little more on, yeah, I want to drag this down. Yes, soft skills lab. The soft skills lab facilitator guide. This is the instructor's handbook. And as you might have noticed, right, the architecture is the same. When I say the architecture is the same, I mean both the communication skills guide, the facilitator guide, and the soft skills facilitator guide have been designed in exactly the same way. Okay, they are mirror images of each other, except, of course, the topics differ. So here you also have the purpose, the course overview, the pedagogical approach, your role, the facilitator's role, the best practices for implementation, and most importantly, the session plans. Yes, and I remember that we talked about the Know Your Level test, and the Know Your Level test gives you CEFR scores. So how do you understand the CEFR scores? You go to Annexure 3. Annexure 3 is understanding the CEFR framework. Okay, Annexure 3 is understanding the CFR framework. What does C2 mean? What does B2 mean? Right? And what does A2 mean? Okay, does someone need want to say something? No, I thought I heard somebody. Okay, I think someone's mic is Ramya. Ramya ma'am, your mic is unmuted, but it's okay. I don't. Never mind that. Let's go back to. Yes, sorry, where was I? Yeah, I was here. So do take a look at the CEFR scores, the interpretation, and what does it mean if somebody gets a B2, right? But for now, I want to show you the session plans. Now, students, if you can get your hands on this, right, it'll be wonderful. Faculty members, please share a copy of this with the students too, so that they know, right, what is expected for them. For example, when it comes to social skills, and this is social skills, right? What is social skills again? Communication, persuasion, self-awareness, persuasion. We just took a look at that, right? So you could give them something for self-study. Self-study is pre-class work, right? And this is exactly what you can give them. So for example, persuasion, ethos, pathos, logos. So you tell your students that, look, tomorrow you have a class on social skills. I want to focus on persuasion. So you better make sure that you go through the notes on persuasion, ethos, pathos, and logos. Then you can also give them some other homework around the other topics, right? This is just an example. And then you come down to the in-class part. The in-class part is what we call facilitator-led, right? Here we tell you exactly what activities you could ask the student to do in the class, in the lab. For example, students have gone through ethos, pathos, and logos. You would ask them, of course, to do the activity, the persuasive pitch. Now, this is just a recommendation, right? These session plans are not cast in stone. It's not like they're mandatory for you to follow every point mentioned. This is just for you to understand which activities would work very well in the lab, which activities or which resources should be completed at home before the lab session, and which activities or what lessons or which concept videos to give for homework post the session. And that's exactly what the session plan serves. That's the purpose it serves, to just make your life easy. When I say your life easy, I'm talking about the faculty members and the facilitators, to make your life easy around the tasks to give the students before the session starts, the tasks to do in the session, and of course, the tasks or the lessons for homework. I would again implore all of you to please go through the instructor handbooks for communication skills and soft skills in detail, understand your role, right? You're more of a facilitator. You don't have to actively teach. You just have to make sure that students are doing what they expected to, right? Go through the best practices for implementation, and most importantly, have a very clear idea of the session plans, because that's going to ensure that everything goes as smoothly as possible and the learning and the impact is maximum. So that's it. We have come to the final stage of today's session. I think it's over to you, Ashwini. And yeah, Ashwini, there?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll stop
I
sharing.
think, yeah, please. Yeah.
We can hear
So
you.
we are
Yeah.
going to end, yeah. I think we have students on YouTube. We have around 50 students who have logged in on YouTube also. So yeah, we are just going to end the streaming on the YouTube. Thank you all the students for joining the session. the same recording also will be available. We have put the facilitator guide link and the playlist link in the YouTube description itself. So you can just click from there and you'll be able to access the playlist. And if you want to access the facilitator guide also, it's there in the description of the video. If possible, let me just share my screen and show it to you. So from the description itself, you will be able to access the link. So if you can see my screen, you have this, right? So we have the agenda, and below that you have the playlist link, communication skills facilitator guide, soft skills facilitator guide, and also we have added the login guide. If you have any doubts regarding the login process, this is a small video which explains only the login process. So you can just click on this link and access. So all the resources that we explained throughout the session are available in the description of the video that we have shared today. So you can just use this.
Ashwini, I just have
And
one
also
question.
we'll be posting,
Sorry.
yeah.
Ashwini, the orientation playlist has the recordings of all the orientation sessions till now.
Yes.
Okay,
So
wonderful.
till now we
That's
have
very good.
yeah, so we have 6 recordings there. So sorry,
Mhm.
5 recordings, and this 6th session also will be added there. And also you can follow us on LinkedIn to get all the updates. So we'll be posting resources and some helpful things which will help you prepare for other things regarding the courses, and many more updates you'll be getting. So you can follow us on LinkedIn as well. Just search for Quiklrn on LinkedIn and just hit the follow button. It will be helpful for you. You will get updated very easily there.
Okay, that's
So
great.
just give me
Yeah.
a second now. Let me just reshare my screen. So we are going to end the streaming on the YouTube. Thank you all the students for joining there. You will have fun doing these activities. So go and try all the activities on the platform.